And it's another beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Photoshop parties are back underway, and hopefully we'll learn something today. Hopefully I'll learn something today. I'm sure I will, because the subject matter we're doing today, I'm okay at, I'm not great at. We're going to talk about the mixer brush, and I've used it for years, but I'm not an expert like Sandra Pierce out of Florida. That girl can do the mixer brush like nobody's business. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll share screen. Oops, I don't want to do that one. Stop share. Let's try it again. Photoshop. And just let you know that Dennis Hammond sent me this the other day. We'll make it really big for you. And can everybody see the keyboard shortcut there?
Yeah.
Basically, that shows you all the different keyboard shortcuts and all the things in the tool panel. Feel free to take a screenshot of that if you want. That is not mine. It's copyright Redrick C. War. I don't know who that is. Dennis sent it to me. So there you go. Leave it up there for about 3 more seconds, and then we'll take it out.
How do you do a screenshot?
On a Mac, you hit Command Shift 4, and then drag your cursor from one corner to the opposite corner, and it'll do a screenshot for you.
How about on a PC?
Why you got to ask me that? I don't use PCs anymore. It used to be print screen or shift print screen, but I don't know what it is today.
Print screen.
Print screen?
Yeah, it's up at the top of the keyboard, about a third of the way from the right.
All right.
Okay,
There's a button that says print screen.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your help on that one.
Sure.
Command W, don't save. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to get out of that. Go to, let's see, let's go to this one to start with. I was sitting eating lunch today, saw this bird sitting on our fence, and I said, hey, that'd be a cool shot. Except I used my 500mm lens, tried to hand hold it, which for those of you that try to hand hold the 500, it don't work so well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something really quick. I'm going to hit W, which is the object selection tool, and we'll just, whoa, that didn't work. Let's try that again. We'll just lasso around this critter. And it's not a bad selection. We'll go to select and mask real quick. Open, open, open. Oh, cool. And then Z for zoom works in the select and mask. And a couple of things I want to save. So let's hit B for brush. And I'm going to hit the Option or Alt key and paint out that little bird dropping on top of there. And then I'm going to draw a quick line. Make my brush a little bit bigger. And what I want to do is just select this area here just to select it. And we've done selection tools quite a bit. I'm going to hit R for refine. And I'm going to go between the legs there to get rid of the background, and then under his body right here. And then on the back feathers, you can see that it's kind of connecting with the background a little bit. So we'll take that out with the refine edge brush, which is R. And areas where you see things that need to be just tweaked just a little bit. And then along the front fur right here, we'll just kind of do the refined edge. You'll notice as I'm doing it, what I'm doing is half on the feathers and half off of the feathers. And what that does, it gives me a chance to refine the edge. There we go. And that looks fairly decent. I can live with that. And output, I'm going to do new layer with layer mask. And we'll show you why in just a second. I always do it that way, but now I have the whole thing by himself, and I can see there's a couple of little things that need fixing, such as right here. So I need to go to white, paint it in. And it helps if you're 100% opacity, because it goes better that way. And the areas that I missed just get painted in. And looks like everything else is okay. So what I'm going to do is turn off the layer with my selection. In fact, let's go ahead and apply layer mask. So it's just him all by himself. So that's what we have by himself on that layer. And on this layer, we have everything. I'm going to go to my mixer brush, and in your normal settings, if you go to your brush palette, it'd be down at the bottom down here. However, I've taken it out when I refined my tools, and I put it down one below, and I also changed the letter from B from brush to A for mixer brush. So I'm going to go to mixer brush, and I'm going to go to my presets, and I have one called the Peat Mixer. And this is a Sander Pierce brush that she named after Pete Rizek. And we'll turn the bird off, click on the background. And what this does, it's actually kind of a cloud thing. And you can make your own background really quick. When you drag your mixer brush from a color, it drags that color into the next color. And right now, the brush settings, as you can see, are wet 78%, load 100, mix 57, flow 100. And we'll explain those in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just kind of paint my clouds slash smoke to just kind of smudge the background a little bit. And I'm not using my Wacom tablet on this. I'm actually using my mouse. If you use your Wacom tablet, it actually works a little bit better. But I'm too lazy to dig that out right now. It's sitting right next to me. And you can see I now have kind of a background. And we can tweak it a little bit. Take some of this blue and move it over, blue-green. And then create kind of a hot spot in the middle for the bird where we want him. And then I'm going to go to a soft round brush. And in the presets, when you have brushes you use all the time, put them in the presets. And here we have mixer brush soft round. And you can see it's a big size brush. All you have to do is go to the plus sign up here in your panel, click on that, and we'll say mixer soft round. And that will put it into your preferences here. And you can just go up there anytime you want a soft round brush, just go up here, hit your preset, and soft round 30, soft round really big. So let's zoom in on where I'm going to go. And this is one of the cool things about the mixer brush. Go for soft round brush, and I'm going to just kind of drag this puppy straight down. And I'm making its own little perch for it to stand on. And you'll notice as I'm doing this, it's getting a little bit of marking along the side there. So what I'm going to do is go into my brush presets. So let's go to Window, Brush Settings, Spacing from 25. I'm going to take it down to 1. And wet, I'm going to take down so it's not so wet there. I'm just dragging this color down, and it doesn't have to be perfect because technically this is going to be a painting when we get done with it. I'm not going to paint the whole thing for you today because you don't want to see me sit here and paint for hours. And we're just kind of munching things around a little bit. And the mixer brush is really cool to work with because you can make things happen with it really easily. And you can see there, we've added a perch for him to stand on. And you can also go in, zoom in on him a little bit. And I'm going to lock transparencies on the second layer where it's background copy. Let's call him Bird. And we're going to go to our mixer brush again and go to the hair, which is just a bunch of little bubbles, make it a whole lot smaller. And what we're going to do is just kind of brush on him so we get the feathers kind of flowing a little bit like softer. And if you've ever watched Sandra Pierce work in this, she's amazing. And she is an instructor at West Coast School this year. So you definitely want to check her out. If they do a program this year where you get to go watch instructors work for an hour at lunchtime, go see Sandra. She is amazing. I don't know how many of you have taken her class, but she's just totally amazing. And if something's not perfect, you just brush it out. You can see on the edge there, it's got a white, kind of a ghosting around there. So I'm just pushing pixels with the mixer brush, and that's all it does. It pushes pixels. I'm just looking for areas that need to be fixed. And when you do this, you work with the contours of the bird or whatever you're working with. And if the beak was cut off a little bit, you can, let me unlock the transparencies there. Go to the soft, round, really big, too big, make it smaller. And again, with the mixer brush, just like the other brush, you can use the right and left bracket keys to make it smaller. So if his beak was cut off, you can make it a hummingbird beak just by dragging those pixels out. Anybody have any questions on that part of it? Okay, let's go ahead and go to this one. This one's kind of cool. This is a trick I learned this week while I was researching the mixer brush and learning everything I could about it. You can see there's a ball there. I actually painted that myself. It's not perfect, but it's fun. We can show how to make a ball in another episode as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the left button right there. I'm going to get a soft round brush. So we'll mixer brush, make sure we have soft round. And I want to make it the same size as the ball. Right about, that's pretty dang close. I like that. I'm going to hold the Option or Alt key and click on it while I'm in the middle of it. And then turn that off. Go to layer 3, which is a blank layer. Make my brush a little smaller. And then set the spacing to 33%. 33%. I'm going to leave everything at 100 right now. So 100 on wet, load, mix, and flow. And I'm going to drag. Okay, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Okay, click on that one. I'm going to Option click. There we go, it filled it. Cool. Turn that one off. Go back to layer 3. Make it a smaller brush. And this is a really cool trick I learned. And that's with the soft edge. I'll take the hardness all the way up to 100. So if you want to make a worm, you can do that. Just drag it around, which I thought was kind of cool. Take the spacing down a little bit, say 24%. We'll make a new layer, turn that one off. I'm gonna do the same thing again at 24%. And it makes some really interesting designs doing that. And you can adjust your spacing. So you can put little balls flying all over the place, little things like that. So I thought that was kind of cool how you could do that. And it's like, wow. So we'll do it one more time. In fact, what we could do, let's change it to red just for fun. So we're going to make the hue and saturation and drag the hue slider over to red. In fact, let's just go ahead and Command D, so it's just the red one. Go up here, make the thing about the same size, maybe a little bit larger is fine. And we'll do an Option or Alt click right in the middle of the ball. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner up here, we have a red ball. So we'll turn it off, add a new layer. And now we have red balls. And we go to brush settings. You can hit F5 if you want to do it that way. Take it to about 25%. 26 is fine. That's close enough. We'll make a worm. And you see when it crosses over that it looks like it actually crossed over. So I think that's kind of a cool thing. I just really enjoyed that. Don't save. And again, with the soft round brush, we're going to click off the paint color there and just kind of go in and do different things to the lion. And you can start doing almost like a, I'm doing this way too fast. Spacing down to 1%. And we're going to go to flow, just like in the brush. You can go to flow and change the flow down to, say, 21%. So what you do with that, it just doesn't go as fast. And I'm using my mouse right now to be more accurate. You probably want to use your Wacom tablet. And again, just going with the flow. In fact, let's go ahead and change over to the Wacom. You guys can't see me, but I'm changing to my Wacom.
We've lost your audio, Michael.
That's because I set my Wacom tablet on top of my switch for my microphone. Thank you, John. But you can see there, just painting with the smudge tool. I changed over to the smudge tool. Did I crap out before I said smudge tool?
Yes.
Okay. I changed over to the smudge tool, and that's more accurate and tight than the mixer brush. But using the two of them together, you can really create some unique effects. And if worse comes to worse, you can always hit the oops key, Command or Control C. But you can see I'm adding a lot more to his teeth. I'm using the smudge tool right now. And the smaller you make it, you can almost make it hairy size. So you can go, okay, you guys got to go away. There we go. Whoa. For some reason, my thing is not playing correctly today. So we can go from this to this instantly. Just by painting things in. And you can see the on the bottom right, we have my logo in there. That's easy to fix. We'll go ahead and change back over to the mixer brush. We'll just kind of, you could clone it out, or you can use the mixer brush to get rid of it, dragging the browns in to get rid of the white there.
Alright.
It should be like an hour, it seems, to fill out all the forms to go to therapy.
Okay. So how come soul tenders isn't
Okay, just a
possible?
reminder
Well, I just said, I said I didn't want
to mute yourselves if you're going to be talking.
Sorry.
Okay, got it. Cool. Thank you. Really simple to do, easy to play with the brush. The hardest thing I think is just playing with it and learning how it works. That's for me the hardest part. So let's go ahead and close out the lioness. We'll go to Command New, 8x10. We'll fill it with white. So with D for default, Command or Control backspace or delete, and that fills it with white. And right now, if I try to use the mixer brush, nothing is going to happen. Because with the mixer brush going, it smudges colors, but there's no color to smudge there, it's all white. If I painted go B for brush and pick out a color, somebody.
Blue.
Blue it is, my favorite color. And we'll go 0 red, 0 green, 255 on the blue, pure 100% blue. And make sure we're at 100% hardness just for fun. And we'll draw a line that way. Let's add kind of the opposite. We'll go 255 here, 0 there, and that gives us red. When I paint across it like that, you get red. Let's go to the mixer brush, which for me is A, because I reprogrammed it. Make it a little bit bigger. And right now, we'll set everything at 100%. So we have wet 100. So I'll show you, this is wet at 100. We'll do wet at 11%. We'll do the same thing. And you can see it just barely moves stuff there. So if you have a wet brush at 100%, it's going to move a whole lot. If you have a load, let's put load down to, let's make it 10%. So I'll double click 10, wet at 100. And we'll do the same thing. So we'll hit Command Z. And we'll do the same thing again. That's wet 100, load 10. We'll do load 100. The same thing. There's not much of a difference there, but mix is where it comes in really cool. I'm going to set mix to 0. I'm going to take those out. And this is wet 100, load 100, mix at 0.
Hmm.
See, it's just doing a little bit of mixing, but if we do mix 100, it does a little bit there. And then flow, if I do it 21%, take those out, Command Z a whole bunch of times. Flows at 20%, let's take it down to even 5%. And it just does not work as hard as when you're in the 100% range. So at 100%, doing the same thing, you can see it takes a whole bunch at the very beginning. So
Same.
flow, go ahead.
Say, Michael, can you do the opacity like you did the red over the blue and make it more transparent? Can you do something like that?
You'll notice in here, it doesn't have opacity there. It just
Oh.
has wet load. And what we could do is adjust it. So instead of a wet load like we're doing, we're going to go with a dry heavy load, because you can change your settings up here in the upper left. So we'll go dry heavy load and do the same thing. And it's doing nothing. The reason it's doing nothing is because it's completely dry.
Okay.
If I do moist heavy mix, it's just barely doing anything, and my load's at 5%, because that's when you get into that moist heavy mix, 5%. So it's very little movement on there. If we did just plain moist, you got a little bit, but not a lot. If you do wet heavy mix, that's when you start really mixing things up. And then very wet heavy mix, go back a couple steps so you can see what it does.
Hmm.
Almost like making a candy cane.
Michael, if you load some paint into your well over there where you've got the transparent pixels, that's what's on your paintbrush. So when you say load at 100%, but you have nothing in the pixels, it doesn't have anything in your paintbrush. The wet
It's
is
taking a clean brush and mushing things around, and then it clears it out right afterwards. So if I do put a color in there, so let's click on that box there, and let's go with the purple to throw it in there. And let's go back to custom where everything's 100%. You can see it started off right here with some purple. I'm going to go back to my mouse so to stick it in there heavy, and it's not doing anything with my mouse, which is bizarre. So let's bump the load back up to 100%. And it's not putting any paint in there.
I think you have to click on that icon on the left. That one. Yeah, right there. No.
If that clicks it on,
Okay, no,
and that clicks it off.
you're right. You had it with where it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, so it should be throwing it in there, but it's not for some reason. But it will with my Wacom tablet a little bit.
Huh.
Yeah, very little. And I don't know why that's doing that.
Hmm.
But you can see it's mixing it in like if you had a brush and paint, you can mix the paint together.
And you're at 100% too, so it should flow pretty good. Oh.
Maybe turn down wet, because wet is like adding water. So maybe
Yeah.
it's making it too watery.
Let's try that, see what happens. Turn wet down to, let's say 5%. And then
Nope.
nada.
I don't know. That's weird, because I was just doing this the other day and I didn't have any trouble getting the paint to flow. So
Okay.
oh, now you got
There
it.
you go.
Mix right now is set at 0. So if you have a 0 mix, it's just going to paint right over the top like a paintbrush. If I put mix at, say, 50%, close enough, 49, then it's going to mix a little bit, but not a whole heck of a lot. If I take the mix up 75%. Same thing. And then 100% is zero mix. So it's not going to mix it at, if you go to 99, you can mix a little bit, but if you go to 100% mix, it's not going to paint at all. It's going to take the other color. That's one of the things I learned when I was playing with it. So it kind of bizarre. And you can go in and pick different brushes out of here. Like this is a hairbrush.
That's kind of cool.
There's a lot of things you can do. Wow, ketchup. Are you done? You can make hair with it. So let's go B for brush, and we'll just kind of put a stripe on there, and then go back to the mixer brush. And this is the hairbrush. You can see what it is. And you can make your own. Remember, we showed you how to make brushes, so you can see how to do that. Just kind of. We'll take the wet down to say 50%. You can see it doesn't drag out as far when you're at 50%. And if we do 25%, I mean, I really have to push to get it to drag out. So the wetter it is, and you're just mushing things around, the faster it works that way. And let's see. Okay, looking to see if there's any questions in the chat. There's another brush that I use all the time, or this one's called the Greasy Blender. And you can see that it's kind of a mushy kind of brush. And you just kind of drag it out and see where it goes with it. You can drag the white back in if you make a mistake, or you can go back and forth with it. I am not an expert in this brush, to say the least, but I have played with it, and the more you play with it, the more you understand what it can do. You can, my Greasy Blender, let's take it in this guy right here, and we'll just kind of drag his feathers around a little bit. And it starts making them look like a painted deal. This is something that Sherry does in Corel all the time. She is an artist and works with Corel Painter. Some people use the mixer brush for everything they do. And this is the Greasy Blender. It kind of just smears a whole lot, but it makes it look a whole lot like a painting. And then you can also take the Smudge Tool and just kind of smudge hairs down like that to make it look like a feather, and then back again, and just play with the Smudge Tool. Was something I never really played with till Sandra Pierce started showing it. And you can make it almost really teeny tiny. This is at 5 pixels. And just kind of paint it down. I'm using the Wacom tablet right now because it seems to be more controllable that way versus my mouse. I have more accuracy using the Wacom tablet. So you want to play with it and see how it works, and go from there. Anybody have any questions on that? Nothing? Going once, going twice? Okay. Stop the share. Hi, Dennis. Good to see you.
Sarah's actually booking jobs.
Oh man, I hate when people do that. Okay, I'm going to hit the stop recording real quick.